Take two. This is Wednesday, August 4th, recording class for those kids who are dead and at home, as we'll go through and do explaining things of first day stuff. Name, pronunciation over there, things to there. We're going to talk about the homeworky things and stuff from there. I think we're good. All right. So, today's goals. One, if you are unaware of it, your goal is to figure out teachers' personalities and to sort of get to know which teachers you hate, which teachers you like, which teachers really are going to annoy you, which ones you're going to enjoy, and stuff like that. For pretty much all of your classes, including like art, PE, all that, you just bring your giant pile of stuff with you. Like in PE, you're not changing clothes and running around or anything like that yet. Just show up, teachers are going to talk at you, that whole boring thing where we interact and stuff like that, and then you should be good to go. My job is to figure out which of you I'm going to smash, because as the day goes along and the year goes along, some of you guys are either going to be lazy or annoying or frustrating. I'm going to want to crush you and pull out your soul and stuff like that. And so today is where we sort of begin that whole figuring out which ones of you have personality, which ones of you are just going to blink at me. And so we sort of have a whole bonding thing. Both you're judging me and I'm judging you. It's a reciprocal judging. And so that's sort of how this whole first day goes. Also, I am going to give you homework here in just a moment because English is better than all of your other classes. Two, it's really simple homework. Basically, my homework is just you're going to be bringing in a thing and then showing it to me so that we can see which kids are lazy. The faster I can figure out which kids hate school and don't want to bring stuff in, the faster we can sort of get that whole judging thing out of the way. So I'm going to give you a couple of easy assignments to figure out that those of you who are like, I hate you and I hate everything you stand for, that we can just go ahead and get that out of the way and begin our bonding from there. So we'll talk about the homeworks here in a second. And then for some of you, it's just getting used to being around humans because you've been virtual for like 18 months and you've not seen other humans and you're looking around at these other things and you're like, they're like cats without fur. And so you're trying to figure out how humans work again. So I figure for some of you, it's just going to be this adjustment period. All right. So here's where we figure out the whole responsibility thing because I'm going to give you 3 homework assignments. One due tomorrow, one due Friday, and one due Monday. They're not going to be super hard. This is where I get to figure out which kids I get to openly mock and harass. I will tell you now, I will openly mock and harass you, but I am not mean. And your thought might be, Mr. Brovicast, how can you openly mock and harass us without being mean at the same time? And the answer is skills with a Z. And so I am very good at what I do. And we'll start getting into that here shortly. Your first homework assignment due tomorrow, composition notebook. You're going to need to bring in one of these tomorrow, and I'm just going to point to you, and you're going to hold it up and go, yaha! And then we're going to be writing things on the front of it. I want one that does not have metal spiralies on the back of it, and there's also ones that have like a flat back and the pages pull out easily. Those are no-no notebooks. You can use them. I'm just going to openly mock you if you do. The reason being is that we're going to be keeping stuff in here, and you don't want the pages to come out. And these, you have to fight to get the pages out. The spirally ones, you go, and pages just fall right out. So you want to keep one where it is hard to remove the pages, and then you are good to go. If you don't have one of these, I forgive you. What you're going to do is go talk to the big people in your house and go, hey, crazy nail painted man says I have to have a notebook for class. And your parents are going to go, we don't believe in paper. And you're going to go, then what do I do? My answer to you is, bring me a note from the big people in your house that says we don't believe in paper, and then I will give you one for free. And then here's where some of you go, but what do we write that on? And the answer is, that's a you problem. Now, your parents can't email me. If they email me, I email back and go, no, bad parent, because they're doing the homework for you. This is my way of figuring out which of you are responsible. So tomorrow, if you don't have a notebook, instead you'll hold up a piece of paper and go, we hate paper. And I go, good job, child. And then I will give you a notebook instead. So this is just my way of figuring out which of you can follow directions and bring this for tomorrow. Question from there, aside from can I be an idiot? And the answer is always embrace it. Okay. Then, your next homework assignment, due Friday, is slightly more challenging. I figured most of you already have one of those because your parents probably stuck it in your book bag and you didn't even know what it was in the first place. This one requires a bit more. You're going to print a picture of yourself and bring it in on paper. So you're going to need a papery photo of you that you're going to bring in. The reason being, out there in this hallway, I am going to be putting up all of these pictures of all of my students for every kid in the school to see, so we get to brag on which kids are on the heroes team. So this picture that you bring in needs to actually be printed out so I can put it on the wall. If you bring it to me on your iPad, you're giving me permission to nail your iPad to the wall, which might not be as helpful as you think. So whatever you're giving it to me on, I get to keep. And so on that one, you can have other people in the picture. I'm fine with that. If it's like you and siblings or you and a swim team, I'm okay with that. We can just point a little arrow and draw a circle around you, and that's fine. It can be a small picture. I mean, don't go like the size of my pretty painted nail. That's not going to do nearly as much good. And I wouldn't go like full-size poster unless you have a really big like ego issue. But you can if that's the way that you want to go too. Now, also, I wouldn't go embarrassing with the pictures because it's going to be in the hallway for everybody to see. So if you bring in the adorable picture of you in the bathtub when you're 2 with little bubbles on your head, I'm fine with that. But when you turn in the picture to me, if you have it face down and you're too ashamed to even show me, I'm going to go, you realize everyone in the school is going to see this picture. And you're going to go, ah. So make sure it's one that you feel pride with. Some of you, I'll get to you in 1 second. I won't ignore you forever, but I will ignore you for just a moment. For some of you, if you are new or all of your pictures like stuck in a closet somewhere, or again, your family is a religion that doesn't believe in cameras because they steal your soul, I understand completely. In that case, bring me a note from the big people in your house. They go, hey, you cannot steal my child's soul. We already dedicated it to like a dog. And so whatever it's going to be, you bring in that note, and that works for me instead. This, again, is just my way of figuring out which kids are going to be responsible. Sam.
What if the only picture we have of ourselves is of us in the bathtub with bubbles on it?
Then I look forward to it. I'm not saying you can't bring it in. I'm just saying don't yell at me when you're crying in the corner rocking back and forth. That becomes a you issue and not a me issue. All right, so then that'll be what becomes due for you guys on Friday. So here's the part we're seeing which kids are the responsible enough ones to write it down and which of you guys are memorizing it, because I'm good either way. What I do is just mock the kids that don't have it. You decide which ones you want to be. Taylor?
So whenever you said a paper, is that this material?
Or just whatever, like normal paper. I just don't want, because I have kids bringing it in on like an iPad. So whatever it is, it can be like actual picture paper, like how real pictures are done. That's fine with me. If you have an actual photo album, that's fine. And you will get the pictures back. I'm not collecting them like to trade with my teacher friends. They're like, oh my God, look at this kid. So I will return them to you. I just need a way to put them on a wall. I mean, okay. I was getting ready to say I don't have a creepy kid collection, but I do. Because at the end of each time I do this, I have kids like, I don't want my picture. So I just literally have thrown them into a file folder, and I have a giant picture of creepy children. Someday let me know, and you can look through a giant file folder of creepy children. But then one of us is probably going to be on a list somewhere, so we'll talk about that. Oh yeah, I'm recording. Hi! That's right. My personality does not change. And then your final thing is this is going to be, I'm going to give it to you on Friday. It's going to be due Monday. It's going to be like a little English review of what you know about English. Literally takes 15 minutes. As in, I'm going to tell you in the directions, do not take more than 15 minutes on this assignment. And I'm going to give you guys that on Friday, due Monday, because it actually requires a bit more work. All right, we're good with your 3 homework assignments? All right, go you guys. Clicky. I said clicky. There you go. If you are absent or have COVID or are attacked by a wild dog or whatever your particular issue may be, as you guys are seeing right now, I record class every single day and post it to my YouTube channel. On this little piece of papery thing here, piece of papery thing here that I handed out. There's a thing in the top middle that says absent COVID. It has my YouTube channel on there. Before you get too excited, like, you're YouTube famous. I'm YouTube not famous. It's literally just me teaching. And so you can go on there and throughout the year and see those different videos. There are a handful of videos of my children when they were younger, like the ones who painted my adorable nails. My favorite one is my oldest when she was 3 at the beach and she turned around in the water. It's like, look, it's me, Daddy. And a wave hit her. And you can watch her. She tumbles over and over again and the wave goes over and you can hear me laughing in the video. It brings me happiness. Beyond that, it's just me teaching in videos, stuff like that. So anytime you're absent or if you have COVID or something like that, you're like, what should I do? My answer is always, did you watch the video? And you're going to go, no. And then again, this is where I get to openly mock you and make fun of you and stuff like that. So this is me telling you now, if you don't want me to mock you, directions. All right. Yeah, my channel name is just Kyborg. It's my last name backwards. There's some other guy who stole my channel and he had ours has my last name, not related to me, so I had to be creative. And so there you go, look at that. I've got 500s of followers, in case case you were wondering just how YouTube famous I am. So, this is not my actual room for those of you who were confused on the schedule or is pointing to a different thing. If you find giant construction-y area, that's where my real room is, and they're currently tearing them out. They're like the ceilings, the floor, like everything. And so this is my room over there to the side where I would be smiling, sorry, looks like me, where I would be smiling and waving to you, and that's my normal spot. This is my temporary one where I should be until like sometime in September, and then I get to move back to my room and make things better. Just so you're aware, this is what my room normally looks like when you come in. When you see, like, you walk to the door and you see my desk, which looks incredibly boring like that. Normally, it's got stuff everywhere. Everything in my room was given to me by either students or my mom. Because my mom was super excited when I became a teacher, and she gives me stuff. Everything else was given to me by students. And as you go around the room, there's just going to be random things everywhere that sort of gives you an idea of what I look. Yes, it is overwhelming. And it's sort of, but every time you come into my room, you get to see new and different things that you would normally not get to see in different spots, stuff like that. Carter!
How long did it take you to unpack that and move it?
Literally a week. As fast as I am very efficient at what I did, and it was over the summertime. I just came in for like 5 mornings in a row and just like went and then packed it all down. The other teachers were taking bets on how long, but they all lost because they were like in the years and the months. I'm like, I'm good at what I do. And so there's just more random pictures. So will all of this go back when I get my room? Probably not. I'm going to change some things up, but most of it will, because that's a lot of what my personality is as you look around the room and stuff like that. So at some point, we'll be back in my room and you'll get overwhelmed by stuff everywhere. Till then, we have this place. It's got lions over there. By the way, that agenda board over there, I didn't make that. That was the previous teacher, although it is adorable and it does match my nails. But that's a whole different issue. This is what my room currently looks like. I went in there and took a picture. So it went from this to that. And so there's nothing in there whatsoever. So they're in the process of tearing it out. So it brings me sadness. But at some point, we'll be back. It's partly why I let my kid paint my nails. I figure it's at least a little bit of my personality, since you guys don't get to see the other version. All right, so now let's go to, I need you to write down your locker combination somewhere that you can find, preferably in your iPad, because you almost always have your iPads with you. Do you have to? No. This is how you prevent me from openly mocking you in the future. I know I keep telling you I openly mock children, but I'm never mean. This is part of it. I'm going to tell you how to avoid having me mock you, because at some point you won't be able to get into your locker. And then there are only time you go talk to the big people, they almost always point you to me, because I'm kind of one of the locker gods. I have like a key that gets people into it, I have all the combinations, and they're going to point you to me. And when you come to me, I'm going to go, hey, isn't it written down in your iPad? And you're going to go, no. Now I'm going to go, let's make fun of a child. And that's when I get to start openly mocking you. So if you don't want that to happen, here's where you follow the directions. Now, some of you already have this on your iPad. You're good to go. Some of you are going to flex on me and be like, I don't need it in my iPad. Game on. It's however you want to do it. This is my way of trying to prevent you from having me attack you later. So you want to have it somewhere in there. Also, those of you who have a school iPad or even your own iPad, here's my question to you. How do we know it's yours? If I find this iPad sitting on the ground and I pick it up, how do I know what child to return it to? It's a rhetorical question, Allison. My answer is a good try. I appreciate your. Find a way to make sure I know. Either put your face as the background, put your schedule on the front, write your name on it, do something so we can figure out what kid it belongs to. If you don't, that's fine. But again, hopefully you're picking up on a theme. If I find your iPad and there's no way to identify who it is, when you have to come to me to get your iPad, what am I going to do? Here's where you get to answer, Allison.
You're going to openly mock us.
Yes, I'm going to openly mock you. So to avoid that, I'm letting you find a way to prevent that from happening. So find a way. Now here's where for some of you, I would say low key, like legit, just like pick up your iPad and take a picture of your face and just be like, set as lock screen. And you just like, oh, look at that. Just find a way to do it. Or be the cool kid that ignores me and then just gambles and sees what happens. That's what makes life fun. I'm not the one getting mocked and made fun of in front of other children. That's the game you get to play. Fun stuff. Any questions about making... By the way, this is giving you an idea of sort of how my class is going to be run through the rest of the year. Is sort of figuring out which kids we get to harass and open. And some of you guys like being harassed and openly mocked. And it's going to bring you happiness and joy.
Possibly if you have another student showing up.
That didn't freak me out at all. So that'll be our little bonding thing, and we'll go from there. All right, so I'm good to go here. All right, home children, by the way, I would recommend you do the same thing. Figure out a way to make sure that you have it set to your face or something. All right, next up. So, if you don't have a map of the school, then we can get you one. But for those of you who've already been walking around the school, you may have noticed around the library, whoever designed our school hates children more than I hate children. And that's pretty impressive because there's 4 doorways that go around the library. And if you've gone around the library, you've realized all 4 doorways look identical, but they go to completely different areas of the school. One goes down to the cafeteria, one goes down to PE, one goes to science, one goes down to art. So when you come up to doorways, it's like Narnia, and you have no idea what's on the other side. And you just cross your fingers and run through and go, please, 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 and hope you find the right thing. But don't worry, I'm actually here to help you. Let's go back to the openly mocking children thing again. Above every doorway, there's a sign that's going to tell you what's down that hallway. So when you show up and you come up to doorway and you're not sure if it's the right one to go through, here's what you do. Step up to door and lift your head and look at sign that will tell you what's down that hallway, and it makes your life much better. Except for this one, because some kid yanked it down because apparently they wanted to challenge you. So when you get to the one that has the office, that one does not have a sign above it, which is why you just look through it and go, oh look, the office, which is like right next to the cafeteria and stuff like that. So the same thing with like the C hallway, science, and then so when you get to them, look up and it'll make your life way easier. As you come in there and you get to the little library and you're trying to figure out which direction you go to, look up, it'll sort of make... The other teachers don't tell their kids this, like the Globetrotters and Stars, they hate their kids. I mean, I hate you guys, but not as much as they do. So when you get to the little hallway and you walk around it, you'll see Globetrotters and Stars just wandering around and lost, like bumping into things. If you want to be a good person, then what you can do is if you have a friend who's on the Globetrotters or Stars, 1, shame on you, you're better than that, but we'll get to that in a moment. But 2, when they're lost and crying in the hallway, just gently go over to them and take your 2 fingers and just lift their chin so they can see the sign. And when they start hugging you and weeping joy and happiness, you can be like, you're welcome. And it'll make life so much better. Or the other option is just stand back and just watch them. And they'll just like go around in circles like 4 or 5 times, and you can just be like, oh, they're coming back again. And you just keep watching them, and you can place bets. That's also a fun thing to do. One of them makes you a good person. One of them makes you a not as good person. I'll let you figure out which is which. Sorry. Yes, Sam?
Will this information be on a test?
Possibly. We do have a quiz coming up next week, but that's going to be way into the future. We have time there. But if you haven't figured it out by that point, then again, open mocking. On that first quiz, if you don't do well on it, it's going to be open mocking again because it's just covering all these same things. So this will probably be one of the biggest things I can tell you today to make your life easier. When you start going down and walking around that area and looking up, it'll make life so much better for you. All right. I mentioned a moment ago that you're on the Heroes team. So congratulations, you're on the best team here at Fishers Junior High. With that one, the other teams here, there's Globetrotters and there's Stars. For those of you who have older siblings who have come through here, if they were a Globetrotter or a Star, congratulations, you're the better child. And so that's just sort of the way it works out. If you had an older sibling who was also a hero, congratulations, you're also a good child. Speaking of which, if you've had an older sibling come through that knows me or I know your older sibling, you're a completely different person than your sibling as far as I'm concerned. I also had a brother and he and I are completely different. If your older sibling loved me, you may hate me. If your older sibling hated me, yay, hopefully you'll enjoy me. And so you get to make your own impression on me regardless of who your sibling was. You get to plant your own flag and be you and stuff like that. Hang on, I can learn my names. Yes, Bowen.
What if we're an only child?
If you're an only child, then hopefully you're the favorite one in your house. If not, keep working and don't give up. All right, and then to there. Pods are no longer a thing. When you refer to pods here, again, that's going to be like the open mocking things. I know you guys in 5th and 6th grade had like 5-2 and 6-12 and pickles or whatever the different things were. And so here it's just going to be the heroes, globetrotters, and stars. Essentially, it's always going to be heroes are the best team because 1, you have me, and then 2, you're just better than the other teams. Every hero has the same 3 teachers. All of you have me for English, Mrs. Randall for social studies, and then Mrs. Melling for science. And by the way, Mrs. Melling, she's right on the other side of that wall. So science-wise, she's right over there as far as the different things go. So that gives you an idea of how the 3 teams here work. Questions as far as that, aside from can I count how many kids in my family at home? All right, you look scared. It's okay, be brave. Hang
What
on,
about
let me hang on. Carter. I have to learn names. Carter.
What about math?
What?
Do they mix?
They do. Good question. And so all the other ones will mix it up. Like math, they used to be on the team. They're not anymore. So if you have like Kearns for math, you're going to have all 3 teams mixed up in there. And so you're welcome to talk to the Globetrotters and Stars. Just when you do, just realize you're better than them when you talk to them, as long as you can fully accept. Now, the Globetrotters are very confused children. And for some reason, they tend to think they're better. And I think it's like a brain damage thing. But whatever, just let them feel that way. Just know in your heart that you're better. The Stars, everyone gets along with the Stars. They're like puppies. No one hates a puppy. And so both the Globetrotters and the heroes, we all get along with Stars. They're just good. There's just, for some reason, the Globetrotters, they just keep thinking they're good. That's all. Wait, how long do I get to have you guys? Period 3. Ooh, 10 more minutes. Yay. All right, and then to there. This is our symbol. Each team has like their own symbol that we get to use. We stole them from football. Like real football, soccer. And so we each stole our own symbols and stuff like that. The Globetrotters and the Stars have theirs. You'll see this in my real room, this place. I have like the symbol up, just like that. It'll be on my background screen and things like that. All right, hall passes. Let's get to that one next. So, let me hook you up with a hall passing thing. There are going to be times when you need to leave class because either A, you need to go to Tinkletown, and when you want to go to Tinkletown, this pass will get you out. Or B, you're just sick of a teacher and you need a break. Or C, you have to go to your locker. Hopefully that's not also Tinkletown because that'd be weird. And so this will allow you to get out. It's good for 9 weeks, which means you'll get a new one the next 9 weeks. Excuse me, which is not until October. If you lose it, you're out of luck. You do not get a new one. So make sure you put your name on this and then put it somewhere safe, wherever it is you think you can't put it. Now, if you do lose it, please come let me know. Will I give you a new one? No. Will I openly mock you? Yes. Make my day. Come to me and go, Mr. Brovicast, you know that pass you gave me yesterday? I already ate it. And I'm like, oh, thank you. You just made my day. So it makes my life much, much better. Or if you lose it or eat it or, I don't know, eat it or you're welcome to keep it as a secret to yourself. By the way, the ones I'm handing out, pass them down. Don't like try to steal all of them. There you go. Put your name on it somewhere. I would recommend using a pen because there's these other kids in the school called hooligans and criminals, and they will steal yours. And if it's written in pencil, pencil does this thing called erasing. And even though I know most of you think teachers are idiots, we're smart enough to realize if a name is erased and a new name is written over it, we can figure out it probably wasn't that kid's. Just like if your name is written in pen and they've scratched it out and written their name, we'll figure that one out. Or if they just cut off the name, again, I know teachers are morons, but we're smart enough to figure out that one. So keep this somewhere safe. What month is it that you get a new one?
October.
Wow, so you have to be on top of that with schooling off. October. So hold on. Now, it's good the whole year for those. Oh, home children, it looks like this. It's good the whole year. If you're one of those responsible children and you don't lose it, you can use this in November, in March, in May. I would say in June, but you're at home by that point. But it's good the whole year and you get to hold on to it. Plus, if you don't lose it, you get to turn it in for cash, not cash, these other things, which is like cash, in my class. And so I'll reward you for prizes if you don't lose it for being a responsible kid. So that's up to you to hold on to. It's good in my class, Mrs. Randall's class, and Mrs. Mellon's class. So it's good for all three of those classes. Try not to use all of them up all at once. Your other teachers, like math and PE and stuff like that, they'll probably have their
Good
own
morning, folks.
passes.
Pardon the interruption. We're getting ready to shortly start fourth period, and that means lunches. So please make sure before the end of the period, all fourth period teachers, please make sure that you review through that document I sent you regarding lunch expectations, so that the aide lunch students know what those expectations are when they walk into the cafeteria fourth period with their teacher. So once again, before the end of this period, third period, please make sure you review through that document.
I'm sorry, that entertained myself. All right. Still good. Questions as far as pass thing goes? Yeah. All right. I think we'll probably get to that. All right. In all legitness, a couple things here. One, you guys haven't been in real school for like a hot minute. And then two, junior high is different than Sand Creek or wherever you guys might have been before. We treat you much more like big people here, which both is good and bad. You guys have a lot more freedom and responsibility as far as like going to the restroom, going to lockers, being a hooligan, stuff like that. Part of it is tardies. So once you start knowing where classes are, like sometime next week, you get what's called a tardy if you show up late to class, which I don't think they did a whole lot in Sand Creek. You guys can just sort of like wander around. They would like sometimes grump at you. Here, teachers get to give you a detention if you show up late to class. And so the way it works is when the bell first rings to start a class, you have to be in that teacher's room when the class starts. If not, it's going to count as a tardy. And you get the third tardy in any class is an automatic detention, but they don't carry over from class to class. So if you're tardy to my class and then tardy to Mellon's class, that counts as one tardy in both classes, not two tardies. So you'd have to be tardy to my class 3 times before something bad happens to you. And then each teacher is going to be a little bit different as far as like where the tardy is. There's some happy, friendly, hippie teachers who are like, as long as you're in the classroom. I'm not a happy, friendly teacher. For my class, your booty has to be in the red chair when the bell rings. If your booty is not in the red chair, I count you tardy. So if you're walking around the room or something like that, and the reason being is that I like to come in and like start jumping onto things right away is part of it. 2, I had idiot kids years ago when the bell rang, they would try to run to their seat and they would trip over the things, which sounds hilarious, and that's only because it is. When a kid trips over a chair and their face hits the ground and they start screaming and then crying, they're getting up and looking at me and I can't stop laughing, and apparently that's not a thing that parents like. So to help with that, I make you be in your seat when the bell rings, and that prevents the whole running and screaming and stuff like that. And then you should be good to go. The first time that you're tardy, that you like walk in late, or I come in and you're like just standing up somewhere in the room, is just going to be a warning. I just go, "What are you doing?" You're like, "I'm just standing here." And I'm like, "You're tardy." And you're like, "What you gonna do, big man?" So I'm gonna go, "Not much," to say that you're tardy. You're like, "Yeah." The second time you're tardy, we get to start playing my fun games. The second time you're tardy, at that point, I get to make you write an essay. And you get to take it home. It's like a 1-page essay about why you're a horrible child and why your parents don't yell at you enough. And then your parents have to sign it saying, "We accept the fact that we're raising a horrible child and we're going to do a big difference." The third time you're tardy, you then have to have a detention during lunch and stuff like that. Do I have a lot of kids tardy in my class? Usually no, because again, I'm a horrible ogre of a person who likes making fun of children. That usually helps solve that problem. Plus, you'll know as we get into it. So just make sure you're seated when the bell first begins, and then you'll be good to go. The other thing is, at the end of class, it's not fully connected to tardies, but you haven't picked up on it yet. I really like to talk, and I'm good at it, and the sound of my own voice brings me happiness. So when the bell rings at the end of class, I'll usually take a little bit to like wrap up whatever I'm in the middle of doing. And if you just stand up and try to leave my room when I'm still talking, I consider it incredibly rude and insulting to me. And if you're rude and insulting to me, you're asking me to be rude and insulting to you. And I will attack you. So usually if the bell rings and you're ready to get away from Crazy Man, smile at me. And then when I have all of you smiling at me, and for those of you wearing masks, you can still smile. It shows in your hair. And you just smile at me, and your hair will curl up in like a little smile. And then I have enough kids smiling at me. It fills my heart with love, which is an emotion I'm not used to. And then usually it causes me to shut down, and then you guys can take off. But if a kid just stands up to leave, it feels like you're attacking me, and then we have to throw down with each other. In order for you to save a child from me attacking them, if you see a kid who's excited to leave my class and go to fourth period because they have math, and every kid loves math, what you'll do to help save them is when you see them stand up, point at them. And when you have 18 other children in here pointing at a child and staring at them, it fills their heart with love also. Tomorrow, we're going to come back to this and talk more about it. I can feel my heart filling with love already. You are now going to fourth period. Run away. Good luck. If you have questions, come see me. Home children, you're just going to go to sleep or something. I don't know. Bye.